two questions. First of all, I'm making the assumption that you're working out of the tradition Hyman Minsky set out. If that assumption is correct, do you see the kind of work you're doing as an indicator for when we're entering the Ponzi stage of a financial expansion? And if you do see it as an indicator, would you think the next step of your work would be to incorporate other indicators, or to use this as a kind of regulatory tool when we want to cut down on the expansion of lending?
Yeah, the first part of your question, you're absolutely right. I have owe a lot to Minsky's influence, direct influence on my thinking about things. That said, Minsky basically laid out three phases of financial positions. A hedge position, which is when you're financing your position out of your income. A speculative one, which you can refinance it. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you're taking a gamble. And the Ponzi position, which is the one where basically when it becomes known that you're in that position, nobody's going to lend to you again because you're going to explode on and you're greased. I don't think it's a complete picture of what we went through because while Minsky, Ponzi was a criminal figure, fraudster. Minsky, in describing things as Ponzi, was a little bit of a joke. He makes it clear that you can be in a Ponzi situation without having criminal intent. It's not necessarily something. It's something which might be slipped into innocent, and that's not the situation. So I think one has to go beyond Minsky to kind of an additional layer to describe what's going on here, which is the situation in which a policed and regulated system becomes unpoliced and unregulated and then taken over by people who are basically determined to loot it. And that's, that's the Soviet Union. And that's nomenclature of privatization is the term for it. It's the savings and loan debacle. And the best person writing systematically on this, for my money, is William K. Black, Bill Black. But I think one also has to ask, why is it that you arrive at a situation in which the police are taken off the beat? There's an enormous amount of pressure for that to happen. It has to happen first. And were the police taken off the beat in this case? Yes, they were. And right after 9/11, the FBI agents, 500 of them, were reassigned to counterterrorism for financial fraud, which you couldn't understand, but they were never replaced. 2003, you had Mr. Gilleran, the head of the Office of Thrift Supervision, coming to his famous press conference with his famous chainsaw and stack of code of federal regulations, regulating on underwriting matter, sending a very clear signal out there to the financial community that the administration encouraged a much more aggressive lending behavior than was previously the case. And everybody who was in an operating role in a financial institution felt this. I was just talking to a woman waiting for the plane yesterday who's an underwriting mortgage underwriter about her experience having her, she volunteered, having her boss approve loans that she was going to refuse. And people with professional standards continued to give their judgments and they got overridden. Why? Because the revenue model that had taken over was one which did not require that the loans get repaid and did not require that the institution making the loans be viable in the long run. Just long enough so that people could get out with their money. And that's what Bill calls control fraud. Fraud by those who are in control. And it seems to me quite a fourth phase, if you like.